Ethereum continuing to look really strong, pushing towards $2,000. But is $2,000 even possible? Perhaps even $3,000. We're going to look at some news that's going to push potential bullish action or bearish action coming up in the coming weeks, and we'll look at that throughout this episode. So make sure you stick around till the end to hear my price predictions for Ethereum over the coming few hours and into the next few days. Guys, if you're new to the House of Crypto, make sure you hit that like and subscribe button on the way in to be kept up to date with all of the latest happening in Ethereum, Bitcoin, and other altcoins. So without further ado, we're going to look at this piece of news from CoinDesk. So Ether looks over leveraged as cryptocurrency hits new high of over $1,900. So what does that mean? That means at the moment, many people are going in on long positions, buy positions, which is pushing the Ethereum price up, but actually not necessarily a huge amount of volume to support that. Now, what that potentially means, that if there was to be a pullback, then actually a lot of these positions, leveraged positions, are wiped out. So people who are leveraged trading means they're trading with sort of borrowed money, and if the leverage position becomes too in the red, shall we say, then the whole position is wiped out, and this can actually remove quite a lot of money from the market and can instill a bit of volatility. So this is where we can see sudden price dumps. However, that's one scenario I see, but there's other news that's coming up that's going to change things. I want to jump across to Ethereum USD to start with, and we've been tracing these channels up. And now most people have got this sort of top and bottom channel, but I want to keep an eye as well on this blue channel line through the middle. So I've got the green line here, which was the triangle breakout that we did yesterday, I believe, or early hours of yesterday, depending on where you are in the world, and it came up to test this green line. And in the past, where we come up to test that green line throughout this channel pattern, we've actually broken through fairly easily, and we've never really been rejected at that line. Here we saw, a few hits before coming up to test this top line here, and then sort of staying fairly steady throughout. Again, testing a bit and then pushing through. However, we've got a bit more of a sustained period of push here. And why is that happening? So if you look at the bottom, I want to draw your attention to these green and red bars. If we come back to this time around the start of January, where we saw this really big push up before this big retrace, we look at the size of the volume coming in. This is the amount of trades being made. This is much more positive, and perhaps why we're not seeing such a kind of a big push to the upside that everyone was anticipating. So if we look down here, the volume is actually much smaller, although we've got a lot of green buyer volume coming in. Still, actually, the volume of buying isn't that big. Okay, so what I sort of expect to play out is if we need to basically break through this green line in order to push towards an all-time high. Now, obviously, because this is trending up, we could potentially hit an all-time high within these green bands. But I think unless it happens in the coming sort of few hours or coming sort of 12 hours or so, we could potentially see a little bit of a break to the downside. I'm not going to say it's going to go all the way down, but we could potentially be coming to test this pink line or testing the top of the triangle here, which wouldn't be a terrible thing, because that would just basically reconfirm, as long as we got a bounce here, reconfirm this triangular pattern which we anticipated in the past. However, you see we've come back down towards this 20-day EMA. This is over on the 4-hour, and we seem to be pushing up again. So what we need basically is a substantial bit of volume, buyer volume coming in, that's going to push us over. So don't be surprised that if we hit $2,000, we might actually see a bit of a sell-off, which could see a bit of a correction to the downside. However, in my mind, this is going to push much more to the upside if we confirm, this triangle pattern so far has been working as anticipated. The breakout target for this would be up here. So giving it probably a bit of time if it stood it now, it pretty much stays up in line with this yellow line, yellow up end of the channel, which would take us to around $21.45. Okay, so $21.45 is our kind of anticipated target level. Okay, but yeah, be aware, guys. There's potential for sort of retracement. Okay, so particularly with that news, given that there's a lot of selling going on at the moment. A lot of overbought situation. So what I want to draw your attention to is this over here on Cointelegraph. Key Ethereum price metric signals pro traders are skeptical about $2,000. So as I was saying, there's obviously a situation. At the moment, we've been pushed up. There's a lot of bullish news coming out about BlackRock, particularly with Bitcoin, but obviously that flows into Ethereum as well, MicroStrategy, etc. Traders are all getting into long positions, and obviously probably the sensible situation at the moment in terms of the trend is your friend until the end. It's pushing to the upside. That's where a lot of us are in long positions. But however, there's obviously that situation can't stick. Okay, if everyone jumping into long positions, then it can be overbought and the price will continue to push up. But then any sort of volatility, any sort of big sell-off will cause a huge or potentially quite a huge shockwave and could actually have quite a serious effect on the price. What I want you to be aware of is be very careful with your trades at the moment. Okay, Ethereum is looking very strong, and I think there is good upside potential. However, always be very careful with your stop losses. And in terms of jumping into long trades right now, until I see a good break above this green line, personally, I don't think it's a good time to be entering a long trade. I'm still in a long trade from this initial breakout here. Those of you who jumped into a trade there, then congratulations, obviously in profit at the moment. But in terms of moving stop losses, my stop loss is now at break even. And if I was to be looking to trade this, I will be waiting to see, breaking through this green line and holding above this green line. If we get a 4-hour close above this green line, then I think realistically the $2,000 mark will come up very quickly and we'll head towards this yellow line. And then over some time, this isn't even, at the moment we haven't really broken out of this channel. If we were to see a breakout from this channel above the yellow line, then guys, then this is when we're looking at like $3,000 happening pretty quickly in my eyes. Obviously, go away, do your own research, understand that trading is risky. Don't risk more than you can afford to lose. In terms of buying opportunity, personally, I'd be waiting to see if it's again like in terms of like short leverage trading and buying opportunity, whether it's going to bounce down. If it bounces down then and finds support at this level, this would be a fantastic buying opportunity, I believe. And if it breaks through this green line and finds decent level of support or comes back and confirms support, then again I'd be looking to buy Ethereum here. Now, one other thing I want to draw your attention to is this chart here over on CoinDesk, which shows the amount of cryptocurrency or Ethereum being held on exchanges, so Coinbase, etc. When the price or when the amount of Ethereum being held on exchanges is particularly low, then obviously that pushes the price up because the demand is much higher. And as we can see, guys, at the moment the price has been going up, and as we see, it's falling nicely, and the amount of Ethereum available on exchanges is falling. Now, one thing that might have been hindering Ethereum's move at the moment, and you've probably been aware of it, is the high gas fees. Now, every time people are changing Ethereum, the gas fees can be extremely high. Particularly, this affects more when you're trying to move sort of smaller amounts of money because it comes as such a large percentage of what you're trying to move. So if it's $25 to move $100 worth of Ethereum, for example, that's 25% of a trade. It's not really sort of worthwhile to do it. Okay, so jumping into the EIP 1559. So this is Ethereum Improvement Program. Now, what this is, or what this is going to do, guys, is reduce the amount or the cost of gas fees. Now, what does that mean? This is actually a really great piece of bullish news, and this is going to happen on the 26th of February, which is approximately 1 week from now, and that should see people being able to trade Ethereum much easier with much less in terms of fees, and also it's going to stop more gas fees or more Ethereum being introduced into the market to make it more of a deflationary asset rather than an inflationary asset. Okay, so we think about all the great things about Bitcoin. As we know, there's only 21 million Bitcoin. That's one thing that makes it really valuable. Ethereum hasn't been like that so far, but actually it's going to start moving towards that way. And this is super positive news and something that's going to be really exciting and going to have potentially huge impact on the price of Ethereum. Okay, so be aware of a bit of volatility potentially coming up with Ethereum as that volume drops. And we could see some pretty big moves, whether that be to the downside or the upside or a bit of both. So look after yourselves, guys. Take care with your trades. One thing I want to look at as well is the Ethereum Bitcoin chart. So we've been tracing this for, like to cover this now and then because I think it's quite an important chart to look at. So this is a huge consolidation pattern which has taken place over sort of 3 or 4 years, 3 years I believe, and we saw it come up and test this here, but it was rejected. But what we've seen here is a bit of a bounce. Now, if this can continue and we can find a higher high, then I'll be looking to see Ethereum push in the coming weeks. However, at the moment, it looks like it's still going to continue to trend downwards. And whether we seem to have found a bit of support on the 50-day EMA, whether that's going to continue downwards towards the 200-day EMA, even maybe down here, then it's going to be very interesting to see how Ethereum plays out versus Bitcoin, okay? So one other thing to look at is the DXY, which is the dollar currency index. And as we can see, this has fallen. And what we've got quite an interesting situation here where these three lines, the blue being a 20-day EMA, red being 50 and the orange being 200, we've seen a bit of a crossover here, guys. And if this continues and continues to fall and breaks this low here, then we're going to see a potential free fall of the US dollar down to these levels further down here. Okay, so obviously, if you've got investments in US dollars, obviously, be cautious of what you're doing with that and think about how this might affect it. Okay, so these are all the things I wanted to cover today. Hopefully you can leave your comments below. Let me know where you think Ethereum's going in the coming hours. Be very careful, guys. As I've mentioned, I want you guys to go out and be safe out there, do some sensible trading. Never risk more than you can afford to lose, because otherwise we're just gambling, and we need to be sensible. Make sure we can come back tomorrow and continue trading. If you're new to the channel, please hit that like and turn the thumb blue. Really helps me deliver more information about Ethereum to more people, and ultimately that's better for Ethereum and can hopefully push the price up. Okay, so also hit the subscribe button, one of the fastest growing YouTube channels in cryptocurrency space. So I hope to be able to continue to deliver you more content. Guys, thanks very much for watching. If you're also interested in a couple of altcoins which I think have serious upside potential, I'll link a video to the end of this video. So go on over to that and look at Ziliqa and Reef, which I think are awesome altcoins. Thanks very much, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.